Boys and girls, children of all ages, if any of you children are watching because you're not at school. Welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. Today is Monday, October 2nd. I just realized this morning that it was October, even though it was October 1st yesterday. That just kind of hit me, and I was like, oh, I was still kind of trying to hold on to the fact that it was maybe still summer, but it's not. So it's October, and we are here to talk about the first Goose show of October that took place last night in Las Vegas. Just me today, plus two very special guests, a fellow member of Team Goose, Ryan. Yeah, there we go. Right, there's Molnar in the chat, right on cue. Thank you. We got Ryan Legvold here, and good friend and somebody I have spent a lot of time podcasting with, but not about Goose, Mr. Justin Bruce. Justin Bruce, Vegas native. Hey, guys.
Well,
hi.
Hi there. Yeah, Vegas native as of the last 7 years. So yeah, the rare hometown show for me last night.
Very exciting. And it's just your second show last night, and Ryan, it was your 20th show last night. So congrats to both of you on those important milestones.
Thanks.
Yeah, as we were talking about in our chat earlier today, Ryan, my Elvis Goose related statistics are off the charts. My batting average is just
no doubt
second to none.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, before we dive into the music of the show, of course, let's hear from you guys a little bit on the vibe. Let's start with you, Ryan. Talk to me about your day in Vegas, getting to the show. Where you kind of posted up. I know you had a pretty great spot, but yeah, take me through it.
Yeah. Oh no. So I left my hotel, went down to the Flamingo, which is right by the venue. I had some sports bets, so I stopped into the sports book, and I had already hit 4 legs of a parlay. Not that anyone cares about this, but I'd hit, or Molnar does, but I'd hit 4 legs of a parlay and needed the 5th to hit. So I watched that game, won it, won a couple $100. So I was pretty happy about that. High-fiving a bunch of random dudes in the sports book, and then walked over to the Brooklyn Bowl and got in line. I had VIP, but I was probably already 30 deep at this point. It was 1:30, but I didn't really care. My wife was getting ready at the hotel, and I knew she'd be a while, so I was like, well, I'll just go hang out with the Goose crew, and hung out with those people, and dude, Vegas, has the best people watching, so just standing there in the Link Promenade, watching everyone, and then so all these people stopping, wondering what we're doing there, because we're not the usual Vegas crowd, I don't think, standing outside the Brooklyn Bowl. We're very colorful, and everyone's got a poster tube, so it's all kinds of people were like, "What's going on? What are you guys doing?" And so it was pretty fun,
It's like, oh, we're waiting for a concert that starts in 6 hours.
Yeah, exactly. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Just hung out.
Awesome.
But Vegas has the best pre-show, post-show vibes out there. I don't care what anyone says. Best vibes. Vibes are high.
Big takes on the pod today. Justin, what about you? Your pre-show vibe yesterday?
my pre-show vibe. I live about 15-20 minutes away, door to door. So my pre-show vibe was having my in-laws come over to watch our kids. My wife was going to the show with me. And she is not going to wait in line 6 hours early. So we were just trying to thread the needle of okay, when do we actually think the band is going to start? I was texting Ryan, really, 7:30, 7:45? What are you thinking? But yeah, basically just shot up, not on the strip, on the back roads, and parked right behind the high roller, the Ferris wheel looking thing that's right there by the Brooklyn Bowl venue. It was storming. I'm a meteorologist here, so I was also watching the radar and making sure everybody knew about the storms, driving through pouring rain. But then got in, no line, because it was 8, and just ducked into the venue, and and probably about 10-15 minutes later the band came on.
That's perfect timing. Whereabouts in the venue did you end up coming at that time?
Not close. In the back. And Brooklyn Bowl is a really interesting venue, and you probably sense this on the webcast, but the actual performance space is very kind of rectangular, and then they have the second level. So it feels kind of confined, but the actual venue is sprawling, and you walk down this long hallway. It's actually very spacious as a whole venue, but then when you want to be to like watch the band, it's a little tight. So we were toward the back on the floor, and I could tell there were probably about 500 more people there this year than last. I think it was August last time they had played, and Peter had mentioned at some point during the second set maybe that it was officially sold out. So I think capacity is like 3,000 people. So there was a difference, and like the intensity of the crowd felt pretty noticeable to me. Like people were excited, for the band to come on. So it was fun.
Awesome. Ryan, what about you? You scored quite the spot last night.
Yeah, we got right up front in front of Peter. It's it's a kind of a narrow, like the stage is narrow. It's a little bit smaller stage than some of the places they've been. So I know what you mean, that it feels confined, even though there's like a lot of space at the back if you went back there, but like everyone kind of crams up there. But I was comfortable. It was good. Good spot. Had some familiar faces around us. But yeah, it's the energy was very high in there. I mean, you could even hear it on the stream. I think the crowd sounds pretty rowdy when I listened back today. But it felt, I mean, when you're up front, it always a lot of energy, but it felt like more energy than normal. Definitely a Vegas party crowd going on.
100%. Sunday night. Got to show up for a Sunday night.
Right.
Well, let's dive into the show here. We'll start with you, Justin. On the first 4 songs, we've got Lead Up, Drive, Dr. Darkness, and the debut of Shape I'm In. What are your thoughts on these 4 here?
I thought Lead Up was a great opener. And like, I mean, I'm not the Goose statistics professor that either of you are, but I was like, oh, wow, a Lead Up opener. Cool. I was just assuming, maybe we'd get that Dr. Darkness opener because it had been a few shows. But so I was like super pleasantly surprised. Felt like Rick really was playing with intensity. And then when they went into Drive, I was like, oh, all right. Yeah, we're not at the Ohana Festival anymore. Like this is substantial stuff. And I thought Drive was great. The energy was very high. Obviously, the chomping was minimal. And yeah, so very pleased with the first couple of songs. Dr. Darkness was great. And then the Shape I'm In. I didn't know if they had covered that before, but there was definitely a lot of like crowd recognition, and it, as I'm sure is the case at many Goose shows, I'm sure it was a lot of people's first show, maybe a lot of people who hadn't necessarily heard a ton of the band. Maybe they had, I don't know. Like we also had the big U2 debut at the Sphere in Las Vegas this weekend, and I definitely saw some like crossover, like some U2 shirts on 55-year-old, 60-year-old dudes who were like, oh, I'm here, I might as well see a Goose show. But I thought that the crowd really responded with energy to the cover, and Jeff did a great job.
He did. Ryan, what about you? Your thoughts on Lead Up, Drive, Dr. Darkness, Shape I'm In?
Yeah, same. I was kind of surprised to see Lead Up as an opener. Is that the first time they opened with it, or?
It is.
Okay, yeah. Thought it was a great opener. I love that song. It really gets the blood flowing. And then Drive, it's like if I'm at a show and Drive's due, it's coming. So I was not surprised to hear that. It was a nice jam. I mean, it didn't do anything too crazy, but great segue into Dr. Darkness, I thought, which was also fun. And then another band cover for the repertoire for the guys. I thought that was awesome. Everyone around me was super stoked. We were all singing along. Like, feel like most people probably knew that song. Yeah, just a good feel-good song there, And Jeff did a great job.
He did.
I like to hear Jeff sing here and there.
Justin, yeah, you had something there.
I was going to ask Ryan, since you were up close, did you notice? Was it Rick's guitar tech who came out like at the end of Drive and was like looking at his pedal board? Was that when that happened? Because it felt like early in set 1, someone came from side stage like up 2 times, and it was kind of the end of the Drive jam where maybe he was playing like a little atonally, and it, being a Goose in-person noob, I did not know what was going on.
I don't know I couldn't hear any problem, but yeah, he was up there a couple times. And then I don't know if that's pads. I think it is, but I think he was up playing with Peter's guitar quite a bit at the end of the show too. Like I couldn't hear what was wrong, but Peter was having all kinds of issues where he was like checked every single wire on every single pedal Peter had there at the end. But again, I didn't hear any problems, so I don't really know what was going on. But yeah, they had a little bit of technical difficulties, I guess, but nothing I noticed. Right? Like
That's
sound
good.
wise.
Yeah, awesome. Great way to start the show. And yeah, we had a comment in the chat from our good friend 902 Vickers. Rick opened with lead up to ask the crowd to have a good time in Vegas, but beware of the perils of gambling away your wife's wedding ring. And this is the perfect opportunity to draw attention to, once again, the work of art that is the Madison Huvon lead up music video. Everyone should go find that. It's on Twitter, somewhere else on the internet. It's beautiful. And that's why they played it last night. It was an obvious homage to his video. I really like this as an opener. I think Ryan, you put it very well. It gets the blood flowing. Nice rock tune to start off the show. And then drive into Dr. Darkness. I really like Dr. Darkness in this kind of slot where it's like, mid first set out of a jam, as opposed to like coming out of a hard stop, which it's a good opener and you get that intro in, but I feel like it lands better when that like dissonant, weird intro comes out of a jam, where a jam just kind of melts into that. And really, really solid Drive. Again, so good to see Drive back as a big jam vehicle this tour. Just warms my heart. It was a rough first half of the year for us Drive jam fans. And then Shape I'm In, really, really cool cover to debut. Obviously we talk about all the time how good Goose sounds covering the band. And it just fits their sound. Great clav in this song too, of course. And Jeff killed the lyrics. I would like to give a shout out to Connor, a good friend of the pod. He was on Friday. He actually, he sent me receipts this morning from last November and earlier this year, where he was saying how they should cover Shape I'm In with Jeff on vocals. So nice. Shout out to Connor for calling that almost a year in advance. Very impressive.
Wow. Yeah. That is impressive.
Yeah. Let's head into the second half of this set here. We've got Rockdale, Lead the Way, and Jeff Engborg. Yes, they did play two band songs in a row, if you're, for those of you following along. Ryan, what are your thoughts on these?
Well, Rockdale was good. I don't think it was super long, was it?
No, just pretty quality, good Rockdale.
Yeah, felt like it fit good there. I love Lead the Way. Got a lot of bliss tonight. Got that started there. I think that was my wife's favorite part of the night. She said, and then Engborg. I mean, dude, that was such a killer way to end that first set. The first time I'd heard that song live, and it's so funky, and all the clav is so good. I really was stoked to hear that one, and it was just a great dance party way to end that first set. Leave everyone with the vibes are high.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect slot for an Engborg too. First set closer, Rage into set break. Justin, what are your thoughts on these last few songs of the first set?
Rockdale was great. Lead the Way. Lead the Way was also great, but with the Engborg, it just sounded so good. And I was telling my wife, I was like, I know this, but I don't know this. And I had to text you and be like, what is this? Oh yeah, right. I knew it. It whipped the crowd into a frenzy. And, for Goose like statistical nerds, it's like, wow, cool. They're playing this song that's somewhat rare, but literally just on the basis of the song itself, it whipped the crowd into a frenzy. So between like the lead up in the drive that started the set and the Engborg to finish the set, I felt like going into set break, like, great first set. And it felt like ahead of pace compared to the last show here in Las Vegas from last summer.
And third Lead the Way of the tour, for those of you keeping track, that is the most played in one tour since 2021. Just putting that out there. We had two in the spring, one in the summer. only one last fall. I guess there were 3 last summer, but there hasn't been more than 3 versions played in a tour since 2021. This is really exciting to see this song being in more regular rotation. And this one last night was beautiful, just like every single version of this song. So really excited to see that. We get a nice, fun Rockdale before that. And yeah, Engborg, it's the Clav song. This is it. I'm now only in the 50% club for Engborg. Sadly, I've now only seen 4 out of 7 versions instead of 4 out of 6. So if they could play that again this weekend, that would be lovely. Shout out to Neil, who still hasn't seen Jeff Engborg. One of the only Goose originals that he has yet to catch live. And so we were joking before last night. We were joking that they were saving it for Fort Collins, because I don't think he's going to be at that show this weekend. But getting it last night, super great vibe for the Vegas crowd for sure. I think just the full party mode, and I love to hear that everyone was just going crazy for it, because that's what you got to do when they start playing Jeff Engborg. Let's start with you here, Justin. Your vibe at set break. What did you guys get up to? What was your feeling going into the second set?
I think, interestingly enough, the vibe at set break, my wife had been out of town for a few days, and we were like, wait a minute, okay, because her parents were babysitting for us. So we decided that she was going to head home. So the vibe was like getting Jamie a lift home and making sure that everything was on the up and up. And as we were walking toward the tail end of the venue so she could be on her way, we ran into the chief investigative reporter at my TV station. And I was like, why are you here? And she was like, why are you here? And it was just the most surreal thing. It's like, you never know who you're going to run into, but like, she was the last person I thought I would run into. So I had a lovely conversation with her and her husband about music, and I didn't realize that she liked Fish, and it was their first Goose show, and then like someone said, oh no, trust me, you'll dig it, and they were digging it. So the vibe at set break was interesting, but yeah, was fine. Everyone, I feel like Brooklyn Bowl, as we spoke earlier, like it is a big venue. Like people go kind of explore, go look at merch. You can go outside. There's a couple of porches, like a couple of big balconies outside. So people were definitely like kind of milling about. And since I didn't have any great seats or great spots to save, like it was a low key set break vibe.
Nice. I'm surprised that anyone who works with you doesn't know that you like Fish, based on how many references you regularly throw into the broadcasts.
Right. Yeah. I know. I mean, you would think I would get the credit that I am due, but live and learn. Now she knows.
Now she knows. Now she has no excuse. Ryan, what about you? What were you up to at set break last night?
I don't know if you saw that video I posted on Twitter, but there are these two, this younger guy and this younger girl. They didn't even know each other. His name was Adam. I can't remember her name, but they were just getting down the whole time to the set break music. And
I did see that. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was just like the best set break entertainment ever. I was just giggling, laughing, watching these two. It was so fun. But then we talked. Brad Solari and John Mayer were kind of chilling next to me, so we were talking about the set and our fantasy, and six Ram Adam, he was right behind me, so we chatted a bit. It was a nice set break. I just hung out up there. Yeah.
Excellent.
We all really liked that first set, so it was we were pretty excited for the second.
Awesome. Justin is the Katie Tour of weather.
There you go.
All right.
I feel like that's less offensive than saying I'm the Jake Sherman of weather, so I'll take it.
There we go.
I'm gonna start watching Las Vegas weather from now on. Just to see you and your references.
It's gonna be hot.
All right, well, let's dive into the second set here. We've got some big jams starting us off here. We've got Elizabeth, and let's go Elizabeth, Indian River, and Into the Mist here. Justin, start us off. This is truly spectacular stuff.
Really, really great stuff. It was funny. Jamie was still, my wife was still like, on the way out when they started to play, and she was like, "What? Who's singing? Who's this new singer?" I was like, that's Peter. Like, but Peter, hadn't really gotten any first set songs to her point. So I was excited for that. And yeah, just the contrast between like the funk and the clav of the Engborg, and I don't know how the show started off like on a little bit of a dark minor key note with lead up, and then just with how far out Elizabeth got, but how like delicately it did so, and how it was just really, really nice. And that's kind of some of the Goose that I like the most, is that like full band, it's not just the Rick show, like full band effort, and just like taming this big wild party crowd with some gentle material. But it went and it went and it went. I've listened to it maybe 2 more times this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to figure out where it ranks and stuff. But I would imagine for me, this would be like a top 20 jam of the year. So far, maybe top 25, just because of the collaborative effort and the lightness that it had. So on board with that. Loved Indian River. One of my favorite Goose lyrics comes from Indian River. Time don't hold us for that long. Just really speaks to me. But to get like the funky, to me, I was listening to a lot of random like mid-70s Jamaican dubstep this weekend before Goose. I was like, oh yeah, I'm really matching these vibes here. So love that. And then how it bled into the Mist was just like pretty perfect. So yeah, I was very, very happy with Q3, especially like knowing that we got a jam that like went up across that 20-minute threshold. That wasn't just, the shreddy stuff that we enjoy in spades here in Gooseland. So I was there for it.
And first finished Mist since April. Thank you, Goose. It was about time. It's about time. Ryan, what about you? Liz, Indian River, and Mist.
Yeah, dude, that Liz. We're getting Neil. Hi, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Yeah, I couldn't miss a chance to talk to the biggest Ryan in the Goose community, Ryan Leggold.
Well, he was talking, when you joined. He's about to tell us about this Elizabeth here.
I'd love to hear about this, Elizabeth, but I also wanted to say hi to Justin, the other guy that Ryan does 4-hour podcasts about another band with. So just wanted to say hi there. But I'm so sorry, Ryan. Keep going.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah, it was great, man. What a great year for Elizabeth, huh? I mean, you were saying how it was kind of delicate, and I agree. There was this part where Rick was playing really soft, and Jeff was just kind of giving the gong just little love taps, not full on, but there was something about it. It was like those two were kind of interplaying, which seems weird to say, but it was very soft and delicate for that part, and just so blissy, so much bliss tonight. Or last night, I guess. I loved it so much. And then what was that? What was after that? Tell me again.
Indian River.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So, that seemed like such a treat too, because when they started playing it, I'm like, I know this, but I don't know what it is. And then it took me a little bit to like figure it out, because I've never heard an Indian River, like that. When was the last played? Farms or
10, 19, 20.
Yeah, and that's a really good version, right? I know there's an old version I listened to, yes. the auto tune Indian River. It was super cool to hear. Like, I was not expecting that. No one was really expecting them to bust that one out, so that was really awesome. It just felt like a treat, like we traveled back in time, like it was pre-COVID Goose there for a couple songs, and and then the transition into Mist was very smooth.
Amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thought it was going to be Creatures, and then it was Mist.
I thought it was going to be Creatures too, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Elizabeth, we've been singing Elizabeth's praises on the pod a lot this tour, because there have been some incredible versions this year. They're coining the term Elizabliss. Thank you. I think it was Vickers who did that one. But it was like the way this one went was so good, because you have this initial kind of major key space they get into, and then they really bring it down. And I kind of felt like it was ending pretty early on. I just hopped on the webcast for the second set. Got back from Snarky Puppy and ready to dive in, and I was just amazed at the patience and the restraint. I talk about this when they do a jam like this, because we see from Goose all the time, Justin, you mentioned like Rick leading the way, fiery, shreddy, fast paced, etc., which is awesome and, so much fun to listen to. But when they can slow it down, bring everything down to such a low level, be more democratic in the improv. And your point about the gong there, Ryan, like spot on. I was thinking about that watching and listening. I was like, I love this like wash that Jeff is creating over this like really mellow jam, just like, tapping it a little bit every so often. It was so cool. And what a build, kind of a pancakesy theme here for a while, but just patience, sticking to a theme, not in any hurry, and just going, for a while. I think this is the first Elizabeth to cross 20 minutes until or since 1:26:22. So a little more statistic for you there. And then Indian River, very pleasantly surprised to see this version pop back up. They're showing, a version like this. You don't need a Delta jam. There's a jam built into this song right here that, dark and moody, really, really cool. It seems the auto-tune was having a little bit of trouble last night, as we were hearing a lot last year. So hopefully they can get that fixed. Cool.
It's only been like 2 years. So yeah, I'm sure they'll get right around.
It was working again for a while. I feel like last night is the first time in a while where we've heard issues with it.
Yeah,
it sounds good in person. I feel like you probably noticed too. Like it never sounds the same live as it does on the recording. Like it always, to me at least, it always sounds better there than when I listen back. But I know what you mean though. For whatever reason, like 2019 auto-tune sounds so much nicer than it has lately, but I don't know, what that is.
No. And then the segue into Mist was so good. And I was just like, when they started the jam, I was like, finish it. Like, hey, please. I think this was a great spot for that to happen. Just like you have the Indian River landing pad after the Elizabeth, keep the energy going with the Mist, and then get some other jams to close the set, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Neil, would you like to talk about these jams here?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Did we cover Engborg?
We did, and I did say that you still haven't seen it, and that I've seen 4.
Yeah, the auditory representation of Goose extending their middle finger to me. So thank you, Goose. Thank you very much for that. So we won't be getting that in the next few shows.
Sorry, came to play, just for the record, Jive did not used to be obsessed about finished Mists. He's still obsessed with it.
Always has been.
And so I think he was very happy about what happened last time.
So on the topic of always has been, just like Jive has always been obsessed with finished Mists for some reason or another, this Elizabeth is starting a lot of discourse on the internet about Elizabeth being the most improved jam vehicle of the year. Elizabeth has always been a banger.
It's a comeback tour.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say that. Maybe a comeback tour. But go back to 2020, there are several incredible Elizabeths. At least 2 on the drive-in tour that are absolutely outstanding. So there's good versions out there. It's not like Elizabeth has always been terrible, and then all of a sudden this year they're playing 20-minute versions that are great. My favorite from 2020, which is not Ryan's favorite, is the one from 9/17. Yours is, what is it? It's
10/17.
10/17. So 1 month later.
Yes.
But killer version here, again, the Elizabeths. And then, I think this kind of just gets to like this amazing peak. And the last version did it too. That it's just wonderful. I don't know. It's just so good. I really enjoy this jam. I don't know if this one is as good as the last one, but I really haven't given it many listens yet. You do?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've listened to it a few times now. I think this is Elizabeth of the year. We like to throw years around.
Of the years.
I think this is EOTY. EOT.
Right on. So then Indian River, this is a refreshing change. And then also kind of what we're seeing in this set, which is just some weird stuff thrown in there, right? So you get a new cover in The Shape I'm In. Did we talk about the two band covers?
I mentioned, okay. 2 band songs in a row.
As long as we did that. But you get to lead the Way, which used to be a very rare song. Now all of a sudden it's not again. and then an Engborg, which is incredibly rare. So that's exciting. And then you get this old arrangement of Indian River, which is amazing. I don't know, for me, at least in my ear, I was thrilled to hear it. And it has this ability, again, like I think you said, Ryan, like you don't need the Delta Jam. Like, honestly, it's been 2 years of having the Delta Jam on the back end of this. And I was ready for something new. And you get this amazing segue into the mist, which I think they do specifically to make us say into the mist on this podcast.
There are worse reasons to do that.
Yeah. So I mean, killer. Like I don't know how you start a set better than those three. Like it's awesome. Like there's no Madavon, right? There's no Wisteria. And
well, there's a Madavon later,
but you know what I'm saying? Like on starting off a set, this is incredible.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. You get a rarity, you get an awesome segue, you get a killer Elizabeth. Yeah, you got jams. I mean, this is good stuff.
Amazing. Well, let's get into the second half of this set here. We have OG Fast All I Need. First time since Boulder last December, 12/18/2022. That is a 66 show gap for those of you keeping track at home. A Madavon to close out the set, and then a Trouble encore. You know, got to have the Elvis. That's 156 show gap. Last played in Aspen on 11/19/21. Let's start with you here, Ryan. What are your thoughts on All I Need, Madavon, and Trouble here?
Yeah, again, like I gotta say, it's like traveling back in time. You know, was not expecting that Fast All I Need. Like, you know, at that Fox show, I wasn't there, but you know, you kind of expected some of that different stuff there, but I was not expecting it last night. I don't know what, you know, I wonder why they like busted out, you know, the Indian River and All I Need like that. If there was some reason. I mean, smaller feeling club, like I don't know why, but it was super cool. Had a nice it got kind of blissy at the end too, like had a really cool jam. But same thing as with Indian River, right away I was like, this is familiar, but I cannot place it, you know, because it was just so out of left field, you know. And then yeah, dude, that Madavon was great. Like high, you know, the energy was so high up on the rail during that. Of course, you know, everyone just singing along, screaming it out. You know, it was so much fun, and that got blissy too. You know, it was a nice blissy Madavon, and yeah, I thought Trouble was again another unexpected one, but a great way to end a show in Vegas with some Elvis, you know. And like I was telling you before the show, that was my 20th show. I saw 4 songs for the first time and 2 versions of songs for the first time. So like 6 new things in your 20th show is pretty amazing to me. I feel like, you know, I could easily go to a show and not see anything new, you know. So I was really stoked with how the show went. It was awesome.
Yeah, amazing. And yeah, I think your point about the All I Need having a cool jam is, yeah, the last 2 fast ones, you know, Boulder and then Worcester in 2021, were kind of like, we're going to play the fast one. It's going to be like 9-10 minutes. And it's really about, we're giving you the rare fast version of All I Need. Last night, they threw a really great jam in there. So it was, you know, very excited to see that one. Justin, what are your thoughts? You know, I know you're definitely not very familiar with this version of All I Need, but All I Need, Madavon, and Trouble. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's really nice having someone who you know is often awake and can field any of your Goose related questions, because like 30 seconds in, I was like, "What's tell me about this, Ryan?" And yeah, you brought me up to speed. But loved it. You know, the energy of the fast version was great. Admittedly, I had never heard a fast version of All I Need before, so it was new to my ears, but like it met the energy in the room. And then when they started to play Madavon, I was like, all right, cool. But the fact that it got so weird and from a Madavon. It was like, it was the perfect way to treat that song to end the show. To Ryan's point, Ryan, who was there last night, like everything like felt kind of unique, and like there was some effort and some intentionality in the choices that they were making. And I don't know, because you said I don't know why they did that. I mean, maybe playing a 45-minute festival set the day before where it's straight ahead. Maybe a string of a couple of shows in a row down the West Coast where solid playing, no complaints, no gripes, but nothing that people are like drooling over or losing their minds over. I felt like there was a little bit of motivation maybe coming into this show, and this was like a perfect way to like bring that motivation and just to put it on display, to play different arrangements of songs that we haven't played in a while, to do a bust out or two, to take Madhavan in like a weird kind of dark direction to end this show, to play Engborg to finish off the first set. It was like, I'm glad that I was here for this Vegas show on top of the Vegas show, from last year. I was like, they came and they played some music. They had an Elvis impersonator. It was cool. It's nice that they came here. But this go around is like, sweet. Like they want to be here and they want to kick some ass, and mission accomplished.
Amazing. Yeah, very well put. Vegas is the Showhio of the desert. People are saying this.
Loud.
I will real quickly though. I will say Las Vegas. As someone, I've lived here for 7 years. My wife is more or less from here. Her family's been here for 30 years. Like, we are not a great music town for people kind of in our sphere of music. Like, we don't have a lot of great venues. It's basically Brooklyn Bowl. There's House of Blues at Mandalay Bay, but other than that, it's like Bruno Mars on the Strip or Lady Gaga on the Strip. Like, Las Vegas, for a city the size of like 2+ million people, like, we are not the Showhio of the desert. So very briefly last night, it was like such a relief to be the Legend Valley of the Mojave Desert, even if it was just brief.
There we go. Awesome.
Amazing.
Neil, you sound like you have thoughts.
I do have thoughts. I mean, so why did we get this kind of unique show in Las Vegas, right? And I think this is the beginning of them emptying the tank and lining up set lists to do something big at the end of this run, right? So you're getting Into the Mist on incredibly short rest. I don't know when the last time they played it was, but it was not too long ago. And Ryan, I see you crunching numbers. Hit me with the numbers. You are muted, sir.
Oops. On the show gap for Mist?
Yeah.
So they last played at Cascade Equinox last weekend. Yeah. So 6 show gap. Weekend. That's not. Yeah, but that's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, but lately it's like sitting around 13 shows, 12 shows. I don't know.
The last 4 gaps were 6, 4, 9, and 5. But
okay, fine. And then what was the one before that? Like 20 something?
13.
Okay. All right. So poking holes in my theory, but in any case, not played all that often. Engborg never gets played. So they knew they had to...
They're playing it, just not when you're there.
Yeah, just not when I'm there. Thank you. But the point I'm trying to make here is these are some rare songs. This is a non-traditional looking set. The fast All I Need lines up I don't know, what do we call it? A regular All I Need. If we're talking about elgoose.net, like the slow and melodic version.
Yeah, exactly.
But like regular All I Need, right? For like just normal folks. So they're lining up a regular All I Need like 2 days out, right? I think that's what's happening there by them playing that. And also just really awesome that they played this for people and jammed it. Because I saw the last 2 versions and it was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's all I need. And then no jam. So when I saw the set list this morning, that's what I was expecting. And oh man, my drive into work was like amazing. I sat in my car for like an extra 15 minutes. Because the first thing I did was put the All I Need on. I was like, well, I have to hear this. And so, yeah, I was blown away by that. And then, Madhavan, I got about halfway through Madhavan when I got to work. And then I was just like, I'm sitting in my car until this is done. Not kidding.
As you should. Yeah, it's another one of those kind of like dual part Madhavans. They've been doing that a lot this year where you get this initial like swirling space and darkness. And then they, bring up a beautiful major key build to a great peak to close it out.
Big peak.
And I mean, you can't go wrong with it. It's really, really amazing. Rick did some extra fiddling around with the delay pedals in that initial section last night. We heard kind of some of that high pitched buzzing stuff that we get in Butterflies. So yeah, great way to close out the set.
So also agree, you can't go wrong. So they should do All I Need Madavon to close set 2 more often. I recommend every show that I'm at.
I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I endorse this.
Well, that's a lot of jams for a set. I think we've been kind of complaining about like not so many jams as of late, and man, it's just jams.
No, this is an amazing second set. Song selection wise, jam wise, flow wise, just amazing. That and you're talking about the set list. Like a second set like this is teeing up the second set Seekers on Friday.
Guess what they didn't do again?
What didn't they do again?
No landing pad in this set. They just smoked through the whole set.
Indian River could be called a landing pad here. I think even.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, if you look at the printed set list,
no ballad.
There was a ballad on the set list. Actually, very interesting on the printed set list, which they completely ignored. They had Your Ocean. They had a third song that's not coming to mind. Oh, it was Born.
It was like Lead the Way, Your Ocean, Born. Like pick one, but they played Lead the Way in the first set, and they had those three listed on the second set.
So you're jumping like right on the thing that I wanted to hammer on, which is Lead the Way as a second set cooldown song. Holy shit!
Yes,
like that would have been amazing. Like, why didn't they do that? But like, if that's a thing that's coming, I'm excited. So love the way that they're thinking about set list construction right now. I mean, this was what a treat. I say that all the time, but this is a treat.
We are 3 days away from Red Rocks. We are 3 days away from seeing Goose. I cannot wait. The hype is building. Out here in Colorado, it's in the air. You can tell that Goose is coming to town. It's just there's a vibe. But I'm ready for 3 shows this weekend. Really excited to see what they do in Flagstaff tomorrow. Last show before the big one, or the big ones. Kind of out of the way midweek at a venue looks interesting, outside. So I'm curious to see what they do tomorrow night. It should be interesting. But anything to add before we wrap up, Justin and Ryan?
Are we skipping Trouble? We're just going to jump over Trouble?
We talked about Trouble.
Oh, okay.
I thought we talked about Trouble. Do you want to say more about Trouble?
I have nothing to say about Trouble.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest. They played it. They did not have an Elvis impersonator.
No, they did not. There was a picture of one from backstage.
I think that was last year's picture.
It looked like it looked like this year though, based on based on how the band looked. Like I don't think Jeff had a mustache.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. I'd have to look again.
That's why I was thinking. I was like, oh, they posted a picture from last year, but then I was looking at it more. I was like, no, that's from tonight. And so then I was thinking, like, is one going to come out for the encore? But they didn't. But yeah, Justin, anything else from you here?
I appreciated the non-presence of Elvis impersonators in set 2 this year. No, great show. Really appreciate the band swinging through Las Vegas. Like I said earlier, we're we don't always get bands coming through, so it's much appreciated. And had a wonderful time. And I really appreciate what you guys do here on the pod. As someone who has not seen a ton of shows in person, but has been listening to every show for like the last year, and often checks in with you guys. Really appreciate what you guys do. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. We look forward to having you on again a year from now when they play in Vegas next time.
For 2 shows.
Yeah, let's hope.
Put that out there.
If they do, I'll be back, because man, I tell you, Vegas, the post-show vibes are unbeatable here. You walk out into that promenade, and it's just the party is on right to the strip. I mean, it is this town is. I know you live here, so it's probably different, but this town is so much fun. I was up so late. I was talking to Vickers this morning when he was going to work. So it was just too much fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that Vickers, wakes up at like 4:00 in the morning.
Right.
To work. So,
of course.
So sometimes, he just catches the encore of the show on the webcast. He's getting up in the morning.
Would have been 1 a.m. your time. Although, it's funny. You bring up an interesting point, right? There are the people who travel to Vegas to see a band. And then there are people who live in Vegas and go to see a band. Very different experiences, and like, man, that must have really been a bummer. Like when you live in Vegas and a band just brings out an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
Like, oh Jesus, it is.
It is
Oh,
really
man.
it is really interesting because I feel like Elvis and Las Vegas just in like the public zeitgeist has like such a connection, and like in actual everyday life, like it's just not really a thing. So when a
Right.
band swings through town and they're like, oh, obviously we've got to get Elvis impersonators, they like Fish back in 1996 or Goose last year, it's like, okay, all right, I guess this is what we're doing these days. If they really wanted to be like Vegas representative, it would have been like Barry Manilow,
Yeah.
who recently like took over Elvis's like number of appearances at the Westgate, which used to be the Imperial. Like that,
There we go.
that would be the baller move next year, Goose.
Yeah,
So
Goose, take
I'll leave
notes.
that with you.
Yeah.
Barry Manilow covers and a Barry Manilow impersonator.
We could probably get Barry
just bring
Manilow
him.
himself.
All right. Okay.
It's
You
like,
heard it here
it's like being
first.
in Boston. Wait, before you go, it's like being in Boston. Everybody assumes like baked beans is a Boston thing. And it's like, I haven't like seen beans in the city like ever. But like Dunkin' Donuts coffee, like, yeah, that's the real local delicacy. So I don't know. In any case, I digress, Ryan. You can continue with your wrap up.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Justin and Ryan, for being on the pod today. It's been lovely to have you both on. Look forward to next time. And I'm excited, as I already, said how excited I am for Red Rocks, but I'm going to keep saying how excited I am for Red Rocks because we're seeing Goose in 3 days. All 5 of us from this podcast are going to be in the same place at the same time for the first time ever, which is very exciting. We're going to get a group photo. Ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
There have been 4 of us.
Yep.
Yeah, we've all met,
What
but
about
we have
Christmas
never
last year? You
all
weren't?
5.
Oh, 'cause-
Kev got
Because
sick
Kevin
at the
got
11th
COVID.
hour.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Okay.
So
They were all sad.
he's been quarantining himself. He's been living in an airtight cube in his basement. Took a week off work. So he's he will be there on Red Rocks. He hasn't seen the sunlight in days. Okay, this is how seriously he's taking it. He's locked in there just listening to Counting Crows records on repeat, waiting for Thursday to come. So
Glad you took that shot and I didn't, but
someone had to. All right. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, to talk about tomorrow night's show in Flagstaff and get really excited for Goosemas. We've got a very special podcast collaboration coming at you for our night 1 day after show. So look forward to that. It's going to be a fun weekend, and I'm really excited. So thanks again, Justin and Ryan. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into this episode of Day After Show. Obviously, let us know what you thought of this show, too, because we want to hear from you. And we will see you guys on Wednesday. Have fun in Flagstaff.